After every single game, WNBA players, fans, coaches are all complaining about the referees, and they have shown that they're not going to change anything because the referees continue to be horrible.
The FBI starts sniffing around, starts digging around, starts flipping through pages, looking into the WNBA, whether it's the officiating, whether it's the players.
Something has just broken inside the WNBA, and this time, it's not because of fans ranting on social media or commentators arguing over a questionable foul on television. What's happening now is far more serious. Actual WNBA referees, certified officials of the league, have reportedly come forward under oath, claiming that the league itself influenced how certain games were officiated. And according to their sworn statements, those instructions allegedly came directly from the office of Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. Think about that for a second. This isn't gossip, hearsay, or internet conspiracy talk. These are legal testimonies suggesting that the commissioner's office may have had a hand in shaping how games were called. For months, WNBA fans have been complaining about inconsistent refereeing. Clips and commentary have flooded online spaces, showing moments where referees seemed to literally turn their backs while Caitlin Clark took physical punishment on the court. It's become an ongoing narrative that Clark endures a level of roughness that no other player in the league seems to face. Yet despite this, the WNBA has been criticized for not stepping in to protect its biggest attraction, its highest ratings draw, and arguably, its only true crossover star. And now, with these new revelations, the situation feels even more alarming. Caitlin Clark, the league's most recognizable name, its attendance leader, and the player who almost single-handedly expanded women's basketball viewership, is somehow the same person taking the hardest hits with the least amount of whistle protection. Many fans who have watched her games this season have repeatedly asked, how is that not a foul? Well, these testimonies might finally offer an answer that no one wanted to hear. What makes this situation even more explosive is that it arrives just as the NBA itself faces major officiating controversy. A gambling scandal recently led to NBA referees being arrested, prompting ESPN's Stephen Smith to warn that if the FBI is looking into the NBA, the WNBA could very well be next. He made it clear, the possibility of the Women's League being investigated should not surprise anyone at this point. That means this might no longer be a story about bad calls or questionable officiating, it could soon become a matter of federal interest. When the integrity of competition is in question, what starts as a sports headline can easily become a legal case. When this news first surfaced, it didn't trickle out quietly, it detonated across the sports world. 3 long-tenured WNBA referees reportedly came forward calmly and professionally, offering sworn statements that described internal meetings and specific guidance they received about how to manage officiating decisions. But according to what's being alleged, the purpose of these directives wasn't to ensure player safety, fairness, or adherence to the rulebook. Instead, referees were allegedly told to help protect the league's image. In simpler terms, the translation is chilling: don't let one player, and everyone knows exactly who that refers to, dominate the spotlight too much. One referee's testimony even stated the quiet part out loud, noting that excessive focus on a single player could disrupt the league's image. Under oath, that statement alone should make every fan pause. The league wasn't reportedly worried about the physical nature of the game, it was worried about how one player's fame might overshadow everyone else. That's not officiating philosophy, that's image management. And now, according to reports, investigators are taking those claims seriously. Even respected figures within the league, such as head coach Stephanie White, have voiced their frustration over inconsistent officiating, complaining that her team wasn't getting fair treatment or the same level of respect from the whistle. This controversy has evolved beyond a PR problem, it's turning into a legitimacy crisis. For over 2 decades, the WNBA longed for a superstar who could redefine the sport and elevate it to new heights. And then Caitlin Clark arrived. In less than a year, she accomplished what decades of marketing campaigns failed to achieve. She filled arenas, attracted casual fans, drew global attention, and pushed TV ratings to record levels. She brought unprecedented financial growth and public interest. But instead of fully embracing that success, these referee statements suggest that the league may have attempted to contain it, to manage it, balance it, or slow it down. Some might argue that such a move was about fairness and protecting competitive balance. Others see it as something far worse, a deliberate interference with the integrity of the competition itself. Because when a league starts replacing fairness with fear of too much spotlight, it stops being a sport and becomes a staged presentation. As the WNBA continues to grow under this microscope, fans are beginning to feel that inconsistency in every game. The officiating seems unpredictable, and no one, not coaches, not players, not viewers, can anticipate how the game will be called on any given night. Caitlin Clark didn't just enter the league, she completely shifted its atmosphere. Before she arrived, the energy in most arenas was calm and respectable. But once she stepped onto the floor, the environment transformed overnight. Every game began to feel like a playoff match. Ticket prices jumped from $15 to $300. Games that once drew 8,000 fans suddenly hosted 18,000. And this surge wasn't the result of clever PR or exaggerated marketing, it was pure gravitational pull. Caitlin Clark brought real, once-in-a-generation energy. Yet, if these referee statements hold truth, instead of letting that natural momentum flourish, the league allegedly tried to counterbalance it with how games were officiated. The alleged instructions were subtle but clear: allow more contact, let the physical play continue, don't reward her with foul calls, and don't let the spotlight tilt too far toward one player. In essence, the message, whether spoken directly or implied, was simple: do not let her become too dominant. That approach didn't come from fans, coaches, or even the athletes on the floor. As one analyst said, the referees aren't listening to the people who make the game thrive, they're listening to stakeholders and executives focused on controlling the league's image. Until that mindset changes, nothing else will. But here's the truth about greatness: it disrupts. Michael Jordan disrupted. Serena Williams disrupted. Tiger Woods disrupted. Lionel Messi disrupted. Tom Brady disrupted. Every sport in history has been transformed by a singular phenomenon that lifted it to new heights. Greatness doesn't threaten a league, it builds one. Yet according to these reports, Cathy Engelbert and those around her seem to view Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise not as an opportunity, but as a threat, something that might disrupt what they saw as the league's balance. So instead of celebrating her as the generational force she clearly was, they allegedly manufactured friction around her success. And you could see that friction on the court with your own eyes. The kind of contact Caitlin absorbed wasn't just playoff-level toughness, it was excessive. She took forearm shots, hip checks, and shoulder hits that would have easily drawn fouls for other players, yet somehow, in her case, the referees let the game continue. Fans noticed. They didn't need slow-motion replays to see the difference. The silence of the whistle when Clark was hit became its own statement. And over time, it started to wear her down. The physical toll on Caitlin Clark became obvious, and the surprise wasn't that she eventually sustained an injury within just 2 weeks of the season, it was that she'd managed to endure that level of contact for as long as she did. Meanwhile, who was seen courtside, calm and smiling as though everything in the league was perfectly fine? Cathy Engelbert herself. Poised, composed, and seemingly unconcerned, even as her league's most important player took nightly punishment. To many, it felt like the leadership was ignoring what was right in front of them, offensive fouls magically turning into good defense whenever Caitlin Clark had the ball. The definition of balance seemed to have been rewritten into something that looked a lot more like punishing success. But this situation isn't just about questionable officiating. It reflects a deeper institutional arrogance, the idea that league officials know better than fans, better than players, and better than the game itself. It's a dangerous mindset that says, we'll decide how the story unfolds, even when the audience and the sport are clearly asking for something different. But the truth is, you can't control greatness once it's in motion. You don't steer a rocket mid-flight, you hold on and let it take you somewhere extraordinary. The year 2024 marked a new era of growth for the WNBA. Viewership reached heights the league had never seen before, and much of that surge was directly tied to Caitlin Clark. After one of the most decorated college careers in history, she stormed into the professional league and instantly became its biggest draw. Over her entire collegiate and professional journey combined, she appeared in an astonishing 185 consecutive games, including 139 straight for the Iowa Hawkeyes, without missing a single one. That kind of durability is almost unheard of. And through it all, Caitlin Clark remained silent. She didn't complain about the officiating. She didn't throw tantrums or make passive-aggressive social media posts. She didn't call anyone out. She just played basketball. She took the hits, adjusted, and kept competing, embodying exactly what professionalism looks like in sports. While others around her allegedly tried to politicize the game, Caitlin stayed focused on what mattered most: performance. Ironically, the one person who refused to make it about politics or attention is the very player who seems to be paying the price for others' insecurities. But now, with these testimonies exposed, the league's leadership can no longer hide in the shadows. The statements given under oath haven't been buried or ignored, they've reportedly been forwarded to the proper channels for review. Ethics investigators are now looking into the claims, and the kinds of questions being asked aren't for press conferences. They're the kind that get answered under oath. Professionals are reportedly examining whether any officiating directives were manipulated to affect competition, whether certain players, particularly Clark, were targeted unfairly, and whether anyone in leadership tried to shape the outcomes of games rather than letting the sport unfold naturally. This isn't routine criticism anymore, it's a governance review, and it could reshape how the league operates. Fans and analysts have pointed out how obvious some of the officiating bias appeared to be, to the point where it felt like the referees simply didn't care who was watching. One commentator put it bluntly: the world saw how bad the calls were, and they just didn't care. They were going to get their message across against the fever no matter what. Many now believe there may have been a coordinated agenda against Caitlin Clark. And if these allegations turn out to be true, this scandal won't end with a mild apology or a promise to do better next season. It will lead to firings, new leadership policies, and independent oversight of officiating. It could completely dismantle a commissioner's legacy, all because of an attempt to control a narrative that never needed managing. When fans start to lose faith in a league's fairness, everything begins to collapse. People don't invest their time, emotion, or money into something they suspect is rigged. Caitlin Clark's arrival was the greatest gift the WNBA ever received, a phenomenon that brought relevance, excitement, new audiences, and unprecedented financial opportunity. All the league had to do was embrace it and protect her the same way every major sports organization safeguards its brightest stars. Instead, if these testimonies are accurate, leadership may have chosen image control over integrity, and in doing so, punished the very miracle that could have elevated the WNBA to global heights. Caitlin Clark was reportedly responsible for generating nearly 26.5% of all WNBA economic activity last season, from ticket sales and TV ratings to merchandise and sponsorships. True greatness doesn't wait its turn. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't politely blend in. It leads. It elevates everyone around it, and any league afraid of that kind of success isn't prepared for growth. It's scared of it. If investigators uncover hard proof, emails, text messages, meeting notes, patterns of officiating bias, this could mark the beginning of the biggest scandal in WNBA history. This won't just be another controversy that fades away in a week or two. It will be a reckoning that forces structural change. The referees may have lit the spark when they testified, but once the truth enters the public record, there's no whistle loud enough to silence it. What happens next could redefine the WNBA forever. And while league executives scramble to defend their decisions and protect their image, Caitlin Clark will keep doing what she's always done, playing with excellence, leading by example, and letting her performance speak louder than any words ever could. Because in the end, greatness doesn't argue, it proves. And once the truth is revealed, the game will never be the same again.